Okay, so hello. Feel free to introduce yourself real quick if you want.
Oh, yes. Hello, my name is Mephiles, and I will be a guest on Jolly Good Time.
Yep, yep. And don't worry, he's not being blackmailed by any horrifying means at all. What?
yeah, I don't like blackmail, so that's a good thing if I don't get blackmailed.
Oh, don't worry, it's worse. Anyway, would you like to talk about the Tekken thing first or something else?
Sure, yeah, let's talk about the Tekken 7 trailer for the one of the new characters.
Yeah, so I came home from work today, and I always found that the director or something for Tekken had replied to some criticism for a new character named Lucky Chloe. She is a very anime-ish looking character, cosplay anime-ish kind of character. So she's kind of silly, goofy looking, and apparently there were people bitching about how she shouldn't be in the game or such for different reasons and that. And a lot of people are blaming social justice warriors, claiming she's sexualized and shit. Though I haven't seen any actual evidence of them having anything to do with it. But but in the end, the guy basically on his official Twitter, his personal Twitter account, he said that they'll remove the character for its Western release and keep her as exclusive to the Eastern regions, and will replace her with a skin what was it? Skin cut, bald, muscle bound dude. Which, to be honest, that sounds maybe a little offensive, just a bit. I'd have to look at what exactly.
Yeah, I personally would agree that the decision to replace the character, indeed, that was called I forgot her
Lucky
name,
Chloe.
Lucky Chloe. Yeah, Lucky Chloe. You're right. Um, from the Western release in North America was indeed not was pretty rash from
Yeah, I mean, if you took a small group of whiny, bitchy people, uh, in that way, hell, just imagine how the Italian game industry would be different. There's always a group of unhappy people amongst everything. It's like if you listen to that small group, you might as well just destroy everything.
yeah, and I looked at the trailer just today, in fact, and I've seen Lucky Chloe, as you mentioned, that some people seemed like she was over sexualized and stuff. And honestly, I think she's really bloody awesome. Very hyper, very J-pop and J-poppy, and that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool. I don't really get the complaint because it could be a really fun character to play as, and it's funny because I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents on this. In terms of removing, you mentioned that they would actually replace this specific character with a
Yeah, I found the part where he said with a muscle-bound white skinhead, and I don't know. It could just be me, but that sounds a little kind of offensive a bit, you know.
I do agree, because
Uh,
if you make, I just have the quote right here from Katsuhiro Karada, and it says, "Hello, small world. I'll make muscular and skinhead character for you." Which, to be honest, if people depicted Lucky Chloe as a sexist character, I would also consider a muscle-bound character always being reused in fighting games as an over-sexualized character, but on the male side.
yeah.
Because it maybe some people will disagree with me, but I think it's an unattainable image, which indeed both are ridiculously made. They're just both made to be ridiculous. If that other one is made, I should say, the male, the muscular
Yeah.
one. But I still think that a chain for a Western release would be completely like it is completely rash, and I think they handled it wrong. They and was the reaction from the players also wrong? Yes, I also do believe so because it's the game. If it's not really anything controversial. I look at her and she's like, yeah, she's
Yeah, because I've
well,
seen way more. Like, I mean, seriously, like, uh, I mean, looking at, I mean, yeah, she's wearing a skimpy outfit, but God, I can like, that's like, that's like fully clothed when compared to like Ivy from Soul Calibur or something. Like, my goodness.
yeah. I actually was going to mention Ivy from Soul Calibur, and I was gonna say she doesn't look really skimpy in that. She just looks well, I guess it is kind of skimpy, but
I
I
mean, it depends. I mean, like,
it's more like a dress,
she's
like a
not
one.
wearing an incredibly short dress, but I mean, it kind of, it varies from person to person. So while my personal opinion, I wouldn't really say it's very bad, but, I'm a guy, so, I'm just kind of being a little lenient to the fair side but, I mean, because she isn't fully clothed. I mean, she has her upper chest and shoulder area open, and she has her thighs area is a little visible. That you can see it a little bit.
Sort
So
of,
I
yeah.
mean, it's not like it's completely fully clothed either. So I'm kind of throwing that out as a leeway. But I can seriously tell you, I could mention bazillions of characters who are far worse. So if people are bitching about her being sexualized, it's like, you get the fuck out.
Yeah, but I pretty much agree. Like, she is indeed a little bit exposed for a female character, but that's like literally, as you mentioned, nothing compared to a whole lot of other characters in other franchises, including, as we have mentioned, Soul Calibur, and even dare I say, Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive should be
Oh yeah,
should
there's
be
there's
criticized even
so
more
many
heavily.
skimpy side outfits you can get in Dead or Alive, and then there's what is it, Wumble Roses? Good lord!
Oh yes, Rumble Roses.
Oh,
Was that
good lord!
was it a wrestling game on the Xbox 360 only featuring
That
women
was the
that
sequel.
wrestled
The original title was on the PS2.
Oh, I have never seen the PS2 version. I've only seen the
They're
360.
both incredibly skimpy, but the PS2 version obviously has worse graphics. But yeah, its sequel on the 360, yeah, that went way even more extreme than the PS2 version. But it's not that far different though. So
Yeah, I just think her overall design, Lucky Chloe's design
yeah,
in general, just looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess you can definitely say there's a little bit of sexualization with the little dress and also the
yeah.
size and the showing cleavage. But personally, it does represent like J-pop stuff, anime stuff pretty well. I would definitely agree. And
To
just
be
looking
honest,
at her,
I would say it's not even that bad considering how Japan's art is with women a lot lately. I mean, like there's a lot of way over sexualized female and male characters in Japanese stuff,
indeed.
and I mean she's not even that extreme. Like, I mean, take like half the animes that are out these days. She's not even that extreme. I mean, like, good lord. I mean, she even has like a normal bust size in the images I'm seeing. It's not like she's packing double D's and running around doing
Yeah, I know. So, a
pulls
lot of
and
Japanese games
flips.
do that.
Like
And
she actually looks like, she doesn't have like melons bigger than her head. Like,
yeah, I definitely do agree with that, and that's something I also make a lot of fun of like of big boobs. That's something about me. I just make fun of over sexualized things in general, but I personally think her design is cute but fun. Like her personality, like just always smiling, always having fun. It's just like really like it's contagious. It makes you wanna. It makes you happy. It makes you want to have fun, just like her.
apparently, I was reading here. This particular thing I'm reading doesn't really provide 100%, but it claims that her character was actually designed by one of the people behind Yakuza.
That's interesting. But that is that just a rumor?
It doesn't provide anything that seems to back it up, so I wouldn't say that's concrete evidence, but
Yeah,
If that's true, that's actually just a little bit interesting.
yeah. We can't really.
Which
I,
could be why she actually has like a more realistic body frame as opposed to. I mean, because seriously, while her outfit is, kind of otaku cosplayish kind of thing, but Willie looking at her, I mean, obviously being a young girl in that, she doesn't really have like abnormal portions to her body. Willie, she's just I would describe it a pretty normal body frame.
I would too, and I honestly think that the overall, just the people that are pretty much complaining about the design, the reason about the character being in Tekken 7, like if they are allowed to have an opinion, of course,
But
definitely
yeah, I mean,
to say that they dislike
obviously the
the
case
character.
isn't you. Oh, excuse me. The case isn't you need to like this character. It's like you don't have to like her. You could hate her. I mean, who usually likes every single character in the game? I mean, those are usually characters I don't
It's
like.
kind of like me and Donkey Kong in Super Smash Brothers. Do I like Donkey Kong? No. Is he allowed to be in there? Yeah. It's pretty much even if I said anything for any character. If I hate that character, I don't want it in the game. It's as if I said that to every single fighting game available. And personally, I think the idea of I think both sides, including the players and the developers at Namco, have unfortunately not reacted in the proper way.
Well, as far as I know, only this I believe he was the director. Wait, let me double check. Yes, he's the game director slash chief producer of Tekken. So, as far as I'm aware, Bandai Namco has not backed or commented on this, but we don't even know if he's really being truthful. I mean, I did see a tweet where one guy was asking if it was like a joke or something. Well, there's actually a guy asking about the skinhead thing, saying that I hope you weren't being racist by that. Let's see. I could have swore I saw a comment on his Trio feed asking about it.
Yeah, and also you mentioned before we started the stream. I want to bring that back up that if they do remove the character, even though that has not been confirmed, that it would be removing content directly from the game, and it would still keep the same price, which definitely is
Yeah, I would
as a
think.
consumer
I
yourself.
mean, usually if like if a game company has to remove something, I really feel like you need to reflect that with the price. Like I can't remember what it was. There was a game I remember. I think it was Disgaea 4 that its online custom map versus fighting thing was like changed in the American version because they were feared of like copyright made things with the tools that the game had or something. But they changed it for America's release, and shitloads of people were pissed off about. Like when you do something like that, I feel you should change the price just a little to reflect, especially when you outright remove it. Like that's more they limited what you could do more than outright removed it. Um, but like what's happening with criminal goals, which we don't even know the amount of content they're messing with. Uh, if they were straight out removing lots of things from the game, I feel like that needs to be reflected in the game
In the game.
price. But if you're just slightly modifying it, like the only thing I really heard them comment on about that particular game was a few scenes they're gonna add like mist to and like that kind of thing. I can understand. You're just more modifying it for the how could you say the culture of the area you're releasing it to, I guess, or something about that relevance.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's just me. But it just feels bad to completely remove something, and it's like, well, we'll just still charge the same shit. I mean, as dickish as it could be, I mean, they could at least make her a DLC character for America. It'd still be dickish, but at least she would still be available.
Technically, but I would prefer it to be in the game than have it as DLC, which technically would be even more scummy on the behalf of Bandai Namco if they would even do that, because it's a character that would be included in the game.
Yeah.
In other regions, but in order for North American users to even play as that character, they would have to pay more than the retail price, which was the value of the other countries. Well, although you might argue that the other countries, like the value differentiates depending on the money, but it's still like per country a retail price, and you don't have the full content. Which, in my honest opinion, if you release something that was part of the full content as DLC in another region. Unless the content came before, like, let's say if the, for Fire Emblem in Japan, what they did is that they had the DLC, but if they would have released everything together, that would make sense. But here they're doing the exact opposite. They're releasing everything together and then splitting everything off in North America, which is definitely not a good thing to consumers because you're not having the full product.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want that to happen either, but I mean, at least they'd still be offering it, but it still would be horrifyingly dickish. But, I mean, in the end, I just don't want them to do something like this. It just seems wrong. I just don't get the reasoning behind it. It's like, I mean, it's a roster of characters. I mean, it's like society. You're gonna like everyone? I doubt it. I mean... if we went with that, fucking Eddie wouldn't be in Tekken ever again. I mean, I don't usually know anyone who likes Eddie from Tekken, so it's like, I mean, I just don't get even why he's even responding to these people, really. I mean, at least in this fashion. I mean, if he wanted to respond saying, well, whatever, your level strokes your luck or whatever, but I mean, just saying, okay, well, we'll move it. That reminds me of, what was it, that Mega Man cell phone game back when Capcom was, like, saying, oh, well, I guess we won't, we canceled this, and this, and they decided they were going to release a cell phone game over here, and everyone's like, oh, so that's what we get, a cell phone game, but you cancel every other fucking Mega Man game you was making. And then they're like, well, I guess we don't give you the cell phone game then.
Yeah, but I believe the cell phone game from Capcom, that Mega Man game actually had micro. I'm not sure if it's the same one that you're talking about, but the one that I'm thinking of actually had microtransaction. It was not even remotely like a Mega Man game at all. So
I have no idea how it played. I don't play mobile games, so I don't even remember what it was called. I just remember the drama about it. That it's like, why are you giving a shit about these assholes that don't like your product? They don't like your product. They're not gonna buy it. So why the fuck should you care about it?
Well, if you're a developer, like any criticism is valuable to anyone. In fact.
Oh yes. I'm not saying they can't criticize, but I'm saying in the sense that they're demanding things to be removed. Like, I mean, I could understand, like, say, you played a demo or something, and you say, like, well, maybe I feel like Lucky Clover is a bit overpowered or something, That kind of thing I could understand, but saying, oh, this character needs to just not exist.
Oh, I see. Just
like,
because...
Yeah, I mean, because, from the different articles I've read about this, one article was saying that a bunch of social justice warriors is the people, behind this whole thing or that, but, like I said, I haven't actually seen anything. The only thing I've seen is an image from NeoGAF of some people just saying she artistically doesn't belong in the game's world. Basically, is basically what that's about. So, I mean, I don't know the contents of this thing with social justice warriors, but I mean, if we're talking about people going up to you and say this thing in your game needs to be removed, you're telling you're just telling them what to do. I mean, you're not even criticizing. You're just saying this thing needs to not exist at all. Like,
Yeah,
it can be your opinion that doesn't need to exist, but that just seems kind of wrong to force your beliefs on it. In it. Like, I mean, that am I coming across right here? Or, do you get what I mean? Or
sort of.
I mean,
Uh,
that's just me. Yeah.
yeah, I still do believe that the reaction was indeed wrong. Personally, like I do believe that just because you don't like the design you want to completely remove doesn't mean that it might be your opinion. You might
Yeah.
not like the design,
I mean, you can
but
quit like I was saying, like
uh,
you can criticize saying, "Well, I don't think she fits in the world," or the way she's dressed up's kind of ridiculous for a fighting tournament. Like, yeah, that's criticism, and you have the right to that.
and who said that she does? Who said that she had to fit in? It's the artist's choice to make this whole new design. If they want to make it just completely out of this entire world, that's their choice. And also, I do credit them for doing something like that because it's pretty awesome. Everything if the character stands out, and as soon as you look at that character and you recognize it, and you can name that character and say, "Oh, it's Lucky Chloe. Oh, she's badass." I think they did a good job. I think she's a pleasing character to look at. She looks fun, energetic, and that kind of stuff. From the trailer I've seen, she just looks fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
haven't
I
got to
think
see it, but that's what I would assume her playstyle is like. Because I mean, usually when you're not dressed in a very serious way, a lot of times they end up having weird playstyle. So that doesn't surprise me.
and let's be honest, Tekken was never a really serious series.
Oh no! I mean, come on! You in the first few games, you fight a angel, a devil, a wooden living log thing, bears, pandas. Like, no, it's
It's
no
not.
like they're all serious looking characters,
Yeah,
but they're also as equally bizarre. Like, in one of the article's comments, there was a guy with the picture with the training wooden thing. They're like, because this is real serious business.
indeed, and it's I don't know. I'm just looking at the comments. I believe like people indeed like they have a right to have an opinion, which is freedom of speech.
Exactly. I'm not saying
In terms
nobody
of
has the right to opinion.
in terms of having like of saying that that they just want to get the character out because it in quotes doesn't fit, it just makes no sense. That's not the player's choice. That's the designer's choice. If they want
Exactly.
to remove her later on because they're like, yeah, she doesn't play good. Like if the designers and the playtesters are like she doesn't play right and that kind of stuff, they just have all these negative feedback from the development team. Then yeah, I can understand why she would be removed. But at this time, I pretty much don't. But in a particular way, I I don't disagree that she seems different from the other characters because she does seem different from any other Tekken character. But as we have mentioned, I personally think that design contributes to her whole aesthetic appeal. I think she's, as I mentioned earlier, very energetic. And I think that's really cool. She just looks really awesome to me.
Yeah. I hopefully he's just trolling these haters or something. Like, I just really hope either A, he's joking, or B, Namco Bandai bitch slaps him and says no. Like, I don't know what kind of power they could have, because, well, he's one of the lead people on it, but then again, he works for them, not the other way around, so I don't know the situation though. Either way, I just hope what he's saying doesn't come to be, and hopefully it doesn't, but, well, I mean, the game's not even out in Japan yet. I mean, it's it's only planned for its arcade phase right now. So, um, there's still time to go before it even gets any console version or anything. So,
Yeah, there's still plenty of time, so we'll have to see in the future. But
yeah.
talking about trolling, it pretty much segues perfectly into another topic that we have planned, which was the reveal of the, in quotes, HD re-release of Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 4 during the presentation. That Sony thing, which I cannot remember the name at this time.
The PlayStation Experience,
Exactly, PlayStation
which is
Experience.
funny, so
Yes,
I didn't even watch it.
I see, but that presentation has gotten so much controversy. Not really controversy, but just complete disappointment from everyone who was like, "Yeah, Final Fantasy VII HD remix. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome with new graphics and that kind of stuff." And then that's kind of how they're setting up this presentation. And you watch it, you're like, if you love Final Fantasy VII, you watch it, everyone's cheering on, so freaking happy. And as soon as you see PlayStation 1 graphics, and the presentation ends, and that the representative for Square Enix talks and said that it would be a port of the PC re-release on PS4. Dead quiet.
Was it?
There's still people like going, yeah, but I
Because
think that
that's
was
like I could have swore I just heard cheering throughout the whole thing, but I mean I
no.
just watched it really quick.
They were cheering, but I don't think they were cheering in the same way. Because if you do watch it, everyone's cheering like mad at first, and then afterwards they're like, "Yay, yay, it's coming."
I'd have to double check it then.
Yeah,
But
it's.
now I'll mistake your word.
I mean, when I saw that, I was like, "What a complete failure on the behalf of Square Enix! That was ridiculous." And the funny thing is, the representative. I don't know if he's like the director and that kind of stuff. I didn't pay attention to that part, or I just don't flat out remember. But he was like, "Oh, we're glad to bring it to PS4." The problem is, if you already have a PS3 or a PSP or even a PS Vita, you can get Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 classics. And the only thing that's going to be different is an upscale resolution, which is terrible. That's
Yeah, I
not.
mean if it's anything like what the PS3 does, the PS1 games, yeah, it's going to be terrible.
And how much is that really going to be? It's like, oh, it's the same thing as the PC. Is it going to be like $10? So I can have a version for 10. If you think about it in terms of technically, they are offering this game, which probably looking on Steam for Final Fantasy VII right now, it's currently $12. That's even more expensive than the PS1 Classic re-release, which was $10 on PlayStation Network. So if they release it for $12, which is or $11.99 without taxes on Steam, if it's the same price, if you think about it, and if it's the same thing, you might get a version of the game that will not even play on other systems if you dig deep enough.
This is
And if,
why this is
if that's
why
the
I don't
case,
follow like console digital crap.
yeah, but if that's the case, that makes no sense to release it like that because you can buy the PS3 version as I mentioned, and it will work on PSP and even the PS Vita. So you buy one, you get it for 3 platforms. But here, if it's the same thing as a PC release, then you're just gonna buy one for 1 platform, which makes absolutely no sense if you have a better version already up on the PSN.
Personally, when it comes to this kind of subject, like I talked about this with Lumina before about like HD ports and such. It's like they can be done, but like I'd say 80-90% of them end up being lazy and, in my opinion, inferior than the original. Like the Silent Hill collection is a joke. The Zone to Indoors was a joke until they finally fixed it, where it actually runs like the game did originally on the PS2 instead of massive lag and shit. I mean, I don't feel like a lot of these places, like I'd say good examples would probably be like the Sly Cooper's HD collection. That was actually a very good example of doing that kind of thing. But I myself, I'm not really into these HD versions really that much. I mean, like, if it's a Wii release of, like, a Willy Whale game, like, if it was, like, Suikoden 2 or something, like, yeah, I could dig that, because that game, that's like $200 for it. So, anything to get that game back into the, the market flow again, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion,
Yeah,
but...
very true. Especially, as you mentioned, for very expensive classic games. Indeed, one thing that I can definitely remember on top of my head that was very expensive are indeed the treasure games on Sega Saturn. Those are
Oh,
incredibly
yes.
expensive, over $100 for some of them.
I usually get Japanese versions of that shit because Japan doesn't have shitloads of whale games. Like, one of the few whale games I'm interested in that's not in America is Mr. Gimmick for the NES. That's actually a very, very well Famicom caught. But
Indeed,
a lot of times, Japanese versions of games are not usually well, and they can be like Eve for the Super Nintendo is insanely expensive in America. It's like $5 in Japan. It's like, yeah, I'll just
exactly.
get that.
That's as you mentioned. That's the same thing for the Sega Saturn. If you get Mega Man 8 for the US release of Mega Man 8 on the Saturn,
Yeah.
it's like 200 something dollars. But if you get the Japanese release, it can go for $20.
Yeah, I mean, it's in hell. Most time they still have the cases and booklets and shit. It's like
Indeed. Now,
amazing the quality.
the only rare thing that I do own is actually the Hatsune Miku PlayStation Vita in box with everything, but it's not. That's like a very recent thing. Otherwise, the other rare in quotes game that I have is Mars Matrix, but the game is not sought after, so it's not very expensive.
Not that bad, not bad. I got varying things, many things that I could try to think off the top of my head, but then it just go on